son is racing.
Welcome, race fans, to another episode of the Rubbin' is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show. This week we head to Martinsville for the First Data 500. Stages this week will be at laps 130, lap 260, and then they'll race the final 240 laps all the way to the finish.
Interesting fact here about Martinsville is in the last 16 races, Chevy has won 10 of those 16. Chevy has not won a race here in the last 3 races, with Ford winning 2 and Toyota winning 1. Will that trend continue this weekend? I'm thinking it probably will, but I think it's going to be Toyota.
Weather should be sunny with temperatures in the low 60s when we go racing at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports Network. All right, Liehr, you're throwing people off. We have you for 2 weeks in a row. It's craziness in and of itself. Let's kick things off starting with the big 3, and then we'll get you to do a burning rubber for us. All right, first of the big 3, we've got Rowdy Kyle Busch starting on the pole, and he was fastest in 10-lap averages. He's 11,900, and he grades out as the best driver at this track with finishes of 5th, 1st, 5th, 2nd, 1st, and 2nd in the last 6 races here. He has also led a total of 837 laps in those races. If you can't tell, I'm a little heavy on Rowdy this week. I love this play. I think he's going to dominate at least the first chunk of the race, if not most of it, and probably win the thing. Liehr, your thoughts on Rowdy before we move on to the other 2?
Yeah, brother. I mean, good to be with you this weekend. Running low on fuel myself. I just got back from a week of Disney with the family and had to go on about 2 hours sleep last night with being at the Mickey Express bus at 3:50 this morning. And it's been a long day, let me say that. But no, I'm definitely, kept me going today with some M&Ms, but it's going to be the same thing tomorrow because Kyle Busch is just super dominant here at Martinsville. And, I mean, the guy he's on the pole. He was fastest in, this week, I guess the practice today, but, was fastest mostly in single lap averages, but also in 10-lap averages too. So, I mean, hard to deny the fact that team has the best speed this weekend. And a guy that's obviously clearly got some great experience here with those 2 wins under his belt. So it's definitely a guy that I'm going to be heavily on. He won this race here last year. But it doesn't happen too often with a 1-to-1 here at Martinsville. But this recipe of this weekend with the playoffs and with only 4 races left, I think that team's going to kick it in high gear this weekend and take home that victory and get some more of those playoff points for that championship.
Well, and even if he doesn't end up winning the race, his last 3 finishes of 2nd, 1st, and 2nd tell me that he's going to rack up more than enough points with all the laps that he leads here that he's going to be on the winning lineup. Now, whether or not there's another dominator that ends up finishing the race that you need to have on your lineup, that's the question this week, in my opinion. One of those guys is another one of the big 3, which is Harvick starting 13th. He's really he's decent here. He doesn't have it's not one of his best tracks, but he's got good numbers here. But he starts 13th and has great place differential potential for you. But he's 12,500, and at that price tag, he has to dominate a chunk of the race and still stay up there in order for him to pay off. I'm not sure he does it this week, Liehr. Your thoughts on Harvick?
Dude, I can't agree with you more. Just way too expensive in my book. And for a guy that, they understand what they've got to do to get to where they want to be at the end of the season this year. As far as from a fantasy perspective, there's just not enough there for me to warrant to play him. Because I just don't, my race vision, I just don't see him going out there tomorrow and leading a bunch of laps coming from that 13th position. Martinsville in itself is a hard place to pass. Coming from that 13th position, because strategy is going to play huge this weekend. And I just don't see it from that price tag of that plus that 13 starting position. Now, if he was, maybe starting a little bit further back or starting more towards the front, I would say, yeah, but that being in that middle, no, it's not there for me this weekend. And obviously, like you talked about too, he's got 34 races here. He's got 1 win and only 5 top 5. So that's not very good percentage. So I'm probably not going to be playing any Harvick this weekend.
Yeah, if he was at the price of Truex, I would be playing him, which Truex is the next guy up. He starts 6th and is 10,700. Like, if Harvick was at that price point with that place differential potential, I would be interested in playing him, but not at the 12.5. Truex starting 6th, though, has only shown speed via his practice times right around that starting position. Like, you know me, man. I love Martin Truex Jr., and Martin at Martinsville is just a cool correlation, in my opinion. But I don't want to count the guy out, but I did in my lineups. I just didn't end up rostering Truex anywhere. Do you have a differing opinion on that?
No, I'm right there with you. I just, I found myself mostly riding the Rowdy train and kind of making place differential plays from there. Mm-hmm. And that's another team. They're still they barely made it, into the playoff scenario. Continuing after last week's, I'm sorry, he's sitting there in the 3rd position, but basically he's one of those guys that, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it into that Final 4. They just really haven't shown the speed, and Martinsville hasn't been one of his forte tracks. It's a short track, and, obviously he is kind of a 1.5 mile darling, but he's never won here at Martinsville. He's only got 4 top 5s out of 25 starts, and hasn't, led a ton of laps, only 244. The crazy part is, like, Ryan Newman, who's somebody, you wouldn't really think so, but he's right there with Kevin Harvick in races as far as 33. He's got the same amount of wins, 1. He's got more top 5s, 8. Same in top 10s is 15. And that's way better than Martin Truex Jr. Truex Jr. has only got the 4 top 5s and then the 9 top 10s. So, this just isn't really the track that suits his driving style very well, unless Cole Pern, pulls out some magic rabbit out of his hat for Halloween, and they find the right strategy call to throw that wrench in the air. But unless something happens wreck wise, but we don't usually get those kind of things here, unless it's like Hamlin versus Elliott last year, which was crazy. But I just unfortunately he's just one of the guys I'll probably be fading this weekend too.
It's really weird because I agree with you. When I was putting together lineups this week, it was Rowdy and then place differential, what the best plays that I thought I could get to build around him. I know traditionally one driver doesn't dominate this race, and you really usually want 2 dominators, but the other potential dominators are all too expensive. Then you give up all your place differential plays and have to end up punting, banking on some sort of carnage, and I just don't think that's likely. So, Liehr, let's get into our actual picks. I know it's way late there, and you've got a little one in bed, so give us a quieted version of the Burning Rubber this week, if you would, buddy.
Yeah, plus my voice this week is a little hoarse after
Disneying it out.
Yeah, after having fun at Disney, and we went to the Halloween parade last night. All of us dressed in our Incredibles outfits, and I would say by far, Incredibles was a popular Halloween costume, but we were the only one. I had the mother-in-law with us, and she was Edna Mode, so we were the only ones that had Edna Mode with us. So I definitely think we had the best Incredibles outfit. Plus, we had the ones that had the actual muscles and stuff in it, where other people were in the pajamas and stuff. But
yeah, no, I love your muscled costume that I saw a picture of. But your future mother-in-law straight stole the show with her costume of Edna. Like, it is spot on, and she put everyone in that crowd to shame with that costume. Like,
she seriously did, man.
That was great.
It was hilarious because so many people would walk by us and they go, "Oh, Edna Mode!" Like nobody there was Edna Mode, so it was hilarious. But the parade was awesome, and got to see the headless horseman, and yeah, it was fantastic. But anyways, yeah, here we go. Burning Rubber, Martinsville, short track style, baby.
See, I actually like that because now I don't have to go in and edit it and clip it, cut down the volume dramatically so we don't blow out people's speakers. Like I'm actually more content with the quieted down Burning Rubber, but we'll leave that up to you guys which one you prefer. So, Liehr, who's your pick to burn some rubber this week, buddy?
Well, I mean, if I had to pick one, obviously it'd be Kyle Busch, but we're not going that route.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so, but yeah, as far as the guy that I'm going to be rolling as my other burning rubber pick, and this is a guy that, I mean, I love pairing him with Rowdy Busch this weekend, and it's hard to deny the fact the guy, I mean, just is a super stud here, career-wise, and obviously it's one of those where he's raced here a ton of times, but he's just an unbelievable driver here. And, you know, it is also, as far as this weekend, the guy is basically really down because he hasn't had such a great year. But I want to be going with Jimmie Johnson in the number 48 as my burning rubber this weekend. Johnson, over his career here, has got 33 starts. He's got 9 wins, so he's got a 27% winning percentage on all the starts. Mm-hmm. He's got 19 top 5s, which is over 50%, and he's got 24 top 10s. He's starting this weekend from the 23rd position. So with that, coupled with his price tag, which is $8,100 this week, his starting position, his history. Honestly, man, and this is him and Chad Knaus's last ride together throughout the rest of the 2018 season. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here after this long season. But I love Jimmie Johnson this weekend, and I think that, you know, as far as from a fantasy perspective, they're definitely going to be a place differential darling this weekend. Mm-hmm. But I could also see them sneaking out and getting a win this weekend with some bold strategy and moves because they got nothing to lose on that team. And, you know, obviously him and Chad want to go out on a winning note here as best as they can. But I love Jimmie Johnson for tomorrow. And he's honestly, for his price tag on where he is, you know, with the likes of being next to Alex Bowman, and Almirola's been doing well. But just a guy that has an awesome starting position, not going to cost you a ton of money, and definitely is, historic-wise, has the best track history here. So nothing but good signs for Jimmie Johnson this weekend to have a great fantasy weekend for you.
Wow, I can't believe that this is about to happen. First of all, I agree, even though he's not had the best of seasons, I really like the Jimmie Johnson play. Here's where it gets really crazy to me that we're doing this in the show. I am also going to recommend one of his teammates in Chase Elliott, which I never do, because also of his starting position. Now, he's starting 21st. I realize he's $9,200, which is a little bit more pricey, but for what I'm getting out of him as a driver, I think that's what I want to play this week. He's the hottest driver in NASCAR as of late with 2 wins and a 31st in his last 3 races. In his last 3 races here, he has finishes of 3rd, 27th, and 9th. The 2 of those that you want would have easily paid off for the place differential potential that you're going to get here. Plus, he led some laps in both of those. I think Chase Elliott is a great play here this weekend at $9,200. I think because of the way salaries are, if people try to go after another dominator that isn't what the place differential guys that we're talking about and their potential to possibly dominate, they aren't going to have the money to play the likes of a Chase Elliott. And they probably don't even have enough money to play the likes of Jimmie Johnson. I like these plays. I think they're really smart. And I think we've seen that Team Hendrick in the last couple of weeks has done things right and rightened the ship finally.
It is crazy. I mean, how the momentum and everything has shifted over from Ford and Toyota, and now we're actually, talking about these Camaros, and where they're at here at the end of the season. Now, granted, I know that Stewart Haas has 4 of the 8 playoff cars, but it's insane how the momentum is basically shifted here in the fourth quarter of the season. But yeah, I mean, and I talked about it a little bit, when we were talking a little while ago, but I mean, Chase Elliott could have easily won this race last year if not for Denny Hamlin, basically pushing him out of the way and pushing him into the wall. And in that scenario, he did start in the top 5. He was, third, but it's one of those to where here in the springtime, he started 21st and finished 9th. So still a great place differential guy, a little expensive in my blood for a place differential play. But when you coddle that position and then also where the finishing position could possibly with the additional dominator points with the fastest laps in there. I mean, I definitely like the Chase Elliott play this weekend. And it was awesome to see him too win last week here at our home track at Kansas in that number 9 Sweet Mountain View ride. And I know we talked about him a little bit last week. So, but that team's got all the momentum right now. And, I hate to keep riding the same horse, but this sport is all about momentum, and that team's got it right now. And you always got to ride the hot hand while you can. So I know our buddy Pete Addis is definitely going to like that for sure. So, but you gotta keep rolling with them.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the Kansas race was NASCAR's lowest rated race in several years, and the lowest rated race ever in the history of Kansas Speedway. So once again, just wanted to throw that out there to continue to prove the point that we've been making on the show, that NASCAR has some issues that it needs to address, and running neck and neck with football is not a successful recipe, at least in the modern viewing landscape. So Liehr, we've just getting that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get the value play out of the way as well. Who are you looking to save some money with this week?
Well, as far as my value play, it's not really considered value in our normal context of what value means. We pull these out every once in a while, but I'm actually going to be going with Paul Menard as my value play this weekend. He is a little bit cost high as far as the limit of where we can consider value. He's $7,700, but I mean, you can't deny the fact the guy started second to last from the 39th position. Basically going to be a free square for you this week on your fantasy teams unless he gets caught up in something. But at the same time, too, that team's been kind of disappointing of late. They have had some speed, but they keep, for some reason, getting caught up in, I think it was last week at Kansas in the pit issue where he was pulling out, and I think it was Trevor Bayne was pulling in and caught him right in the right front. Crazy. But stuff happens like that, and that's something you got to equate for. But, I mean, you have nothing to lose by starting Paul Menard in the number 20 Wood Brothers car in that 39th position at that $7,700 price point. But, again, this week is one of those weeks to where, maybe you want to get a little bit crazy and roll somebody else like, I know David Reagan way overqualified in 14th, but that may, we're AJ Allmendinger. This is a small, track, so the track kind of suits his style. Plus, he's still looking for a ride next season. So, but I'm definitely going to be rolling 100% Paul Menard tomorrow, and I'm sure, hopefully, you guys are out there too. But if Paul Menard is not like 90 or 95% owned, I'm going to be upset.
Well, he won't be.
I will be happy because I know that I'll get all that, whatever percentage that he's not owned on everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those, the right play. Another one of those, just the right play, in my opinion, is Austin Dillon as value. And I'm really glad that you took a guy that's more expensive than my value play, which is right on the edge as well. So I don't feel bad, and at least I'm not that guy this week. So when you dig into Austin Dillon's stats at Martinsville, every time but once when starting outside of the top 20 here, he has gained at least 12 place differential points for you. The only time he didn't was when he had electrical problems and had to exit the race. Maverick, I'm calling him Maverick because I think he's bringing back the point totals that we used to see out of this guy. Starts 28th and is 7,400. He's had finishes of 7th, 17th, 11th in the last 3 races. Here, I think this is what you want out of him. Austin Dillon is just the right play. You're going to get good place differential out of him. Play him along with Menard and the other guys we're talking about.
Yeah, I definitely love Austin Dillon, especially from that starting position. He's a guy that is someone that obviously gets it here at Martinsville. Unfortunately, just didn't have a good qualifying run this weekend. But as far as his times this weekend, and the crazy part is his brother was practicing in the top 10. Ty Dillon. But as far as Austin Dillon goes, I mean, who knows? Maybe you want to roll a double Dillon this weekend. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But, as far as Austin Dillon, he's at least going to get you 10-plus place differential points. And at that price tag, it's definitely something that you've got to be cognizant of and consider him. And I definitely love the Austin Dillon play this weekend. And who knows, that guy too may be a sneaky guy to get up there and get a top 5. You never know, but
no way. I'm calling it here. Absolutely not. Ty Dillon overqualified. No,
I'm talking about Austin Dillon.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I thought you were going back to your Ty Dillon play. I was like, no.
But that's the crazy part, though, is Ty Dillon. I mean, you don't expect that from this, but again, this race is not, a normal type of race that we normally run here. Obviously we come here twice a year, but, this is more about strategy than anything else. It's not really about speed because these guys don't get, above speeds over, they'll get over 100, but on average, they're not going to be blowing the tires off or anything. So I think the biggest thing this weekend is going to be, your strategy from pitting and also, as far as entering the corners, that's the biggest thing because obviously, as we saw today, if you go too fast into the corner, you're going to take it right into the wall.
It tends to happen at these short tracks.
And I'm gonna let you talk about it because I know how much you love to talk about that guy. So
I'm good. Go ahead, Liehr.
Well, I mean, it was Bubba Wallace. I mean, he, took it too fast getting into the turn and put it right into the wall. And I mean, thank God that they have a backup car because he completely trashed their other car that they brought. So,
how many cars has he trashed this week yet again? This year, this season. Richard Petty Motorsports does not have a ton of money, and that dude has thrashed over a dozen race cars, right?
I mean, I would say yes. Yeah.
Wow. Just
unreal.
Unreal.
Between the one that he did at the road course, this one. What was the other one that he did where
let's save everybody from totaling it up. There's just been a ton of them.
Yeah, it's just been insane, yeah.
All right, Liehr, do you have it going to the it's time for going to the garage. We wrapped up value. Do you have a pick that you want to send to the garage this week, talk a little bit of trash on?
Just a little bit. I want to be sending Kyle Larson to the garage this week. Last week at Kansas, he came close to getting a victory after having to go to a backup car as well, after wrecking his main car in practice. And he was a win or in and got close. I mean, got third, but unfortunately didn't make it in. And Larson hasn't won all season. It's been a absolutely disappointing 2018 season for the number 42 team. I think a little bit of that boils down to equipment with Chip Ganassi. But, I mean, what happened? What was the difference between 2017 with Chip Ganassi Racing and where they were just absolutely on fire, unstoppable, week in and week out, to what we've come to this season? They couldn't even get a win. And I know they switched over to the Camaro when it takes a little bit of a change, but Hendrick has made it. Hendrick has made that change, and Chip Ganassi has not. But Kyle Larson himself, you know, obviously gets a lot of grief and from people about his sprint racing. I mean, that's what he loves to do. That's his main love. And obviously, you know, as far as a driver's concerned, NASCAR is where the money is. But this guy this weekend here at Martinsville, I know we're talking about that. Sorry, I got a little bit on a tangent there about, you know, overall. But, you know, Kyle Larson is just way too expensive this weekend. He's $11,500. He's going to be starting from, I think it's the 10th position. Yeah, 10th. And he has absolutely no success here at Martinsville. In 9 races, he's got 0 wins. He only has 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. I'm sorry, 1 top 5 and 1 top 10 and 5 top 20s. So Kyle Larson, after not making the playoffs this weekend, or after the last weekend and not making it for the rest of the season, that guy, I think he's just ready to mail it in, send it in for the rest of the season. And this track has not shown him any love. It's just one of those plays where the cost, where he's starting from, and his past history, I can't do it.
I like the going to the garage play, guys. I have to do this, and it may offend some of you, but that's fine with me. I'm sending to the garage these idiot nationalists that keep coming out of the woodworks. We had 14 pipe bombs sent by nationalists to people this week. We had 11 people slain by nationalists that went and gunned down Jews at a synagogue that were worshiping, and we had another one try to shoot up a black church. Like, if you don't know the difference between nationalism and patriotism, then you really need to pick up a history book, because nationalism is a terrible, terrible ideology. The same ideology that Hitler and Mussolini espoused. It is a bad ideology that historically has bad people behind it. And these people that are espousing this nationalist ideology and killing people that are different than them, that is abhorrent. And it's not what anyone should stand for in this country. And we should all stand up against these kinds of people. This country is a melting pot of different cultures, and we should celebrate that instead of trying to... this is just frustrating me. People are dying because of this terrible rhetoric. And, you know, I've had enough. So I'm sending those people to the garage. And guys, if you're mad at me and think that politics don't belong in NASCAR, I'm going to tell you that NASCAR did this first. There was a car sponsored by a political organization, by a political action committee running the Xfinity Series today. So don't tell me that NASCAR doesn't have anything to do with politics. We've got to get past this part of our political history, and we've got to move on. And we can only do that by calling things what they are. And this nationalist ideology is horrific, and America is supposed to be better. So, guys, I know that was a little sombering, but we want to send thoughts and prayers to all the victims of the tragedy today, and of the 2 people that were shot at the Kroger from the other guy trying to break into a black church and kill those people. We want to send our thoughts and prayers with all the victims of these tragedies, and hopefully...
Definitely.
And we want to commend all the police officers that fought and the 4 police officers that are injured after dealing with this gunman today. But, like, we've got to turn the page and become the America that we were all promised and that we all believe in. This America is not the America that we grew up believing in. Like, this is just wrong. And, you know, if you're mad at me for saying it, so be it. But, guys, I still wish you all the best, and hopefully we can move past this and get back to talking just about NASCAR. You know, but you know me, I have to speak my mind, and so With that said, guys,
that's what makes it you, brother. And when you get the opportunity and a platform to express your opinion and something you believe in, then that's your right as an American and as a human being, is to speak your mind. And I'm never going to criticize you about that.
Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in. I hope we all have a successful weekend. I really wish there was some better contests for us to play on DraftKings for NASCAR. But with that said, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, and have a good one, guys.
League.
Oh yeah, sorry. See, I've been in such a state over today's events that I've even forgot about the league. Liehr, catch us up on the league stat, and then let's get out of here.
All right. Well, first off, let me go by saying that unfortunately, I put in my reservation last week in our league and ran out of time because I went to an engagement party on Sunday, and unfortunately, by the time I got the chance to put my lineup in, I was like 5 minutes too late. So the first one all season. So I was definitely pissed off at myself. But congratulations to, and by the way, too, I'm sorry. Just been busy with life stuff, with the vacation and all this other stuff. I promise that during football tomorrow and NASCAR, I will get everything caught up. I won't get tomorrow's race done, but everything I got to finish up 2 weeks ago and then last week, and I will get that done by tomorrow and get that over to Poppa.
Yes, so shame on you for going on vacation to Disney World and not updating the league. Shame on you for having fun.
Well, I want to get it done for the people because, just like everybody else, I want, stats and see where I'm absolutely. At. I want to give it to them as fast as I possibly can. So, and it makes me feel bad that I don't get it done right away, but it is what it is. But I will get it done. But congratulations to Ram Fan 94.99 with a 279.5. He had Chris Busher with a 33, Austin Dillon with a 45.5, Kevin Harvick with a 58, Joey Bag of Donuts Logano with a 73. That was definitely a surpriser, man. I didn't think he was going to lead as many laps as he led last week at Kansas, starting from that one position. And then he had Martin Truex Jr. with a 47.5 and Bubba Wallace with a 22.5. So congratulations to Ram Fan 94.99. We'll see you in the Super Bowl this year.
Yes, the non-existent Super Bowl. Guys, thanks again for tuning in this week. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Liehr, go ahead and say your goodbyes and get us out of here.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Was notified, too, this week, one of our players, 618. Basically, there is a contest out there, and I hate promoting DraftKings because they have not, obviously, given us in the NASCAR community what we've been looking for. But I definitely encourage you all to get into it. There's a contest. It's called the NASCAR 5K Race to the Finish Survivor. It is a survivor race over the next handful of races. It's 294 max entry, $20 to enter. And currently right now, we're not even halfway full. So maybe I don't want to tell you guys about it, but I do, just because I would rather see more of us fill it in than anybody else. But it should be a really fun contest, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, before he wraps this up, though, the problem, I want to be completely honest and disclose to you. Guys, we have no idea what that tournament totally pays when it's all said and done, or what spots it pays, because DraftKings, once again, has not given us any of this information. They just tell us how many people advance to the next round and how many rounds there are. We have no idea of the rest of it. So, it's total guesswork. So, in other words, unless you have money that you're just willing to, risk on this, whatever it is, I wouldn't play it. I've put one entry in it, and we're going to see. But, man, DraftKings, seriously, you care so little about NASCAR, you can't even tell us what the projected prizes are for a multi-week Survivor tournament. Once again, this is ridiculous. But I understand Liehr's wanting to play it. I appreciate you going out. I just wanted to disclose to everybody that we don't even know what the actual prize package is or what places get paid what. So
yeah, it is pretty ridiculous from that perspective. But I always love playing Survivors. I think it's fun. Anyways, if you get first this weekend, you get an automatic into the final. The rest of the people this weekend, it'll advance the first 220 players. So out of 294. So if we get less than 220, everybody will be advancing to next week. So, but again, guys, appreciate it. We're getting down to the nitty gritty of the rest of the 2018 season. So I know you guys have options with your time and how to spend it, but I definitely appreciate you spending it with us. And we'll see you next weekend. Have a great weekend.
Later, y'all. Have a good one.